Federation of Canadian Municipalities President Karen Leibovici and Canadian Construction Association President Michael Atkinson are among those stakeholders eagerly awaiting the new long-term infrastructure plan in the upcoming federal budget. Leibovici says it will be the items contained within the new plan that will determine its success.
There are some key elements, which are the predictability and the sustainability and the flexibility that need to be recognized as we look towards how do we fix the infrastructure deficit that's there right now.
She pointed out that there needs to be a balance.
And that we look at how do we move the bar in terms of what the state of infrastructure is now towards what it can be in 10 years or 20 years or 30 years down the road.
It appears as if infrastructure is going to be one of the top focuses of the upcoming budget, which is great news for Atkinson.
We had a commitment from Minister Malbaie that we're not going to miss a construction season when the current plan runs out March 31st, 2014. So we're still rather optimistic that we're going to see something announced in the next federal budget, whenever that comes, with respect to the future of the federal government's role in a long-term infrastructure program. So part of having a long-term infrastructure program or plan is to provide that long-term certainty, that predictability, which is needed by other levels of government that are contributing to co-funded programs, and is needed by the private sector to ensure that we have the right workforce in place, that we have the capacity in place to deliver that work in a timely manner. So that's very important going forward.
What has helped keep infrastructure in the spotlight has been the collaboration between stakeholders from across the country.
We've seen a coming together of not just the private sector and local governments, but also a coming together of the provincial and territorial governments as well as the federal government to say, okay, let's put on our hats, roll up our sleeves, and figure out how we're going to deal with the infrastructure deficit that's in this country. That's really huge.
Atkinson recognized that the federal government is committed to meeting its deficit reduction targets, and an infrastructure plan may come in phases. The federal government has already made some infrastructure commitments.
Yeah, we expect that any new long-term infrastructure program that is announced, that will be a part of it, part and parcel of it, that the $2 billion commitment per year will continue. We of course would like to see that indexed so it doesn't get eroded over time. Likewise, it appears that the full rebate to municipalities on the GST, HST is something that the federal government is ready to continue to commit towards that plan as well.
The federal budget is expected within the next few weeks. Stay tuned online and on Twitter for more updates from the Canadian Construction Association's 95th Annual Conference in Malbaie, Quebec. For Reconstruction Data, I'm Kelly Lapointe.